What if that old, dirty Jefferson nickel hiding in your pocket change is secretly worth a fortune? Most people overlook these coins, but some rare Jefferson nickels have shocked collectors by selling for hundreds, even thousands, of dollars. Imagine discovering a tiny detail that turns a common coin into a treasure. Before you spend another nickel, take a closer look, because the next one you find could be the jackpot collectors dream about. What if I told you that a dirty 1984 p nickel, yes, the kind most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up, could be hiding big money, the kind of money that turns pocket change into a life-changing value overnight? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear might completely change the way you look at every coin you own. Let's rewind to 1984. Millions upon millions of Jefferson nickels were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Nothing special on the surface. No silver. No commemorative hype. Just ordinary coins flooding into circulation. But here's where the story takes a strange turn. Behind the scenes, something wasn't perfect. Minting machines were under pressure. Dies were wearing out faster than expected. And in that chaos, small, almost invisible, mistakes began slipping through. Mistakes that today are worth serious money. Now here's the part that should grab your attention immediately. That tiny P, mint mark next to Jefferson's ponytail? That's your first clue. It tells you this coin came from Philadelphia. But on some 1984 nickels, that little area hides secrets most people never notice. And those secrets can turn 5 cents into a hidden treasure. So let's break it down like a true collector. First, check the date, 1984. Second, look for the P mint mark. Now lean in close, because this is where things get exciting. Examine the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Do the letters look slightly doubled? Almost like a shadow or echo. That could be a double die error, and collectors absolutely love these. Depending on how strong the doubling is, these coins have sold for $100, $300, even $700 or more. And that's just the beginning. Now let me hit you with a shocking twist most people completely miss. Some 1984 p nickels were struck off center. That means the design is shifted, leaving part of the coin blank. The more dramatic the shift, the higher the value. We're talking $250, $600, even over $1,200 in some cases. And yes, people have found these in circulation. Imagine that moment. You're holding a coin that looks wrong. Most people would think it's damaged. But now you know, that wrong could mean big money. But don't stop there, because it gets even more intense. Let's talk about die cracks and cut errors. As the minting dies wore down, they began to crack. When that happens, metal flows into those cracks, leaving raised lines or blobs on the coin. To the untrained eye, it looks like damage. To a collector, it's a signal of hidden treasure. Some 1984 p nickels with strong cut errors have sold for $300 to $900, depending on size and placement. Now here comes another attention reset, because this is where things get truly shocking. There are rare cases where 1984 nickels were struck on the wrong planchet. That means the coin blank wasn't even meant for a nickel. These are extremely rare, and when they appear at auction, they can bring in $1, $500, $2, $500, sometimes even more. From a coin most people would never look at twice. Now let's talk about something that could quietly multiply the value of your coin. Condition. Even an ordinary 1984 p nickel, if it's in mint state condition, sharp details, no wear, original shine, can sell for $50 to $150 or more to the right collector. But here's the key. If you combine high condition with a rare error, that's when the value can explode into the thousands. Now let me show you something almost nobody checks, but it could change everything. The rim. Run your finger along the edge of the coin. Look closely under light. Do you see uneven thickness? Extra metal? Missing sections? That could be a rim error, and these can push values into the hundreds of dollars depending on how dramatic they are. This is where casual collectors stop and serious treasure hunters begin. Now here's a reality check that might surprise you. Collectors across the US and UK are actively searching for these exact coins right now. Not gold coins. Not ancient artifacts. Just old, dirty nickels, hiding in plain sight. Because they know something most people don't. That ordinary coins can carry life-changing value. And every single year, someone discovers one of these hidden treasures by accident. A coin sitting in a jar for decades suddenly turns into hundreds or thousands of dollars. Let's go back to 1983. It wasn't a flashy year for coins. No silver, no special commemoratives, just ordinary Jefferson nickels rolling out of the Philadelphia Mint by the millions. But buried inside that massive production, something went wrong. Tiny mistakes. Silent errors. The kind that slipped past inspectors and went straight into circulation. And here's the chilling part. Most people never noticed. These coins were spent, scratched, dirted, and forgotten. But today, collectors are hunting them down like buried treasure, because certain 1983 P nickels have turned into big money jackpots. Now let me snap your attention with something shocking. The P mint mark, right there next to Jefferson's ponytail, is your first clue. Before 1980, nickels from Philadelphia didn't even carry a P. So by 1983, it was still relatively new, and that's exactly where some of the most valuable errors began to appear. Here's what you need to look for. Start with the date, 1983. Then check for the P mint mark. Now lean in close, because this is where the hidden treasure reveals itself. Look at the lettering, especially Liberty, and In God We Trust. Do you see a shadow effect? A slight doubling? That could be a double die error. These are rare, and depending on how strong the doubling is, collectors have paid anywhere from $100 to $600 for these coins. But don't stop there, because here comes another shocking twist. Some 1983 P nickels were struck off-center. That means part of the design is shifted, leaving a blank crescent on one side. The more dramatic the shift, the more valuable the coin. We're talking $200, $500, even over $1,000 for strong off-center errors. And yes, these coins still show up in circulation. Now imagine this scenario. You're digging through an old coin jar. You find a dull, dirty 1983 nickel. It doesn't shine. It doesn't look special. But then, you notice something odd. The design isn't perfectly aligned. That moment, that's the difference between 5 cents and life-changing value. But wait, because it gets even more intense. Let's talk about die cracks and cut errors. These happen when the coin die starts to break down after striking thousands, or even millions, of coins. The result? Raised lines, blobs, or chunks of extra metal on the coin's surface. To most people, it looks like damage. To collectors, it screams big money. Some cut error nickels from the early 1980s have sold for $300 to $900, depending on size and visibility. Now here's another reset, because this might shock you even more. There are rare cases where 1983 nickels were struck on the wrong planchet. That means the coin blank wasn't even meant to be a nickel. These are extremely rare mint errors, and when they appear at auction, they can bring in $1, $500, $2, 000, sometimes even higher. Check the surface. Does it still have its original luster? Are the steps on Monticello sharp and defined? High-grade coins, especially those graded in mint state, can sell for $50 to $150 or more, even without errors. But combine that condition with a rare mistake, that's when things get serious. Now here's something most collectors won't tell you. The rim of the coin can reveal secrets. Run your finger along the edge. Look closely under light. If you see irregular thickness, strange bumps, or areas where the rim looks incomplete, you could be holding a rare rim error, and those can push values into the hundreds of dollars. This is the kind of detail that separates casual collectors from those who discover hidden treasure. And now, let me hit you with a real-world reality check. Coins like these don't just sit in museums. They show up in auctions, estate sales, and even pocket change. Collectors across the US and UK are actively searching for these exact coins, because they know what most people don't. What if I told you that a dirty, forgotten nickel from 1980 PS, the kind most people toss into a jar, could secretly be worth thousands of dollars, or even more? Stay with me, because this might be the most shocking hidden treasure hiding in plain sight right now. Picture this, it's 1980. The world is changing, inflation is rising, and millions of nickels are being struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Among them, a handful of coins that were never supposed to exist the way they do today. Tiny mistakes, almost invisible flaws, that would turn an ordinary Jefferson nickel into a piece of big money history. Now here's where it gets mysterious. Most of these rare 1980 P nickels didn't look special when they were first made. In fact, many were dismissed as low-quality coins, weak strikes, odd textures, strange marks. Collectors ignored them. People spent them. Some ended up buried in drawers, pockets, or coin jars for decades. But years later, experts started noticing something strange. Certain 1980 P nickels had rare minting errors, the kind that can transform a 5-cent coin into a life-changing value. And here's the shocking part. Some of these coins have sold for hundreds, even thousands of dollars, depending on the error and condition. Now let me reset your attention with something wild, because this is where most people miss the treasure. The P mint mark. That tiny letter next to Jefferson's portrait? It tells you the coin was minted in Philadelphia. But in 1980, something unusual happened. Some nickels were struck with off-center dies, others with double strikes, and a few with extremely rare die cracks and cut errors. These are not just scratches, these are mint-made mistakes. And collectors pay big money for them. Let's break it down so you don't miss your chance. First, check the date, 1980. Second, look for the P mint mark. It should be clearly visible near Jefferson's ponytail. No mint mark? That's a different story, but we're focused on the P here. Now, here's where things get exciting. Look closely at the lettering. Do you see doubling? Especially in Liberty or In God We Trust? If the letters look slightly doubled or shadowed, you could be holding a double die error, and that alone could push the value into the $100 to $500 range, sometimes more. But wait, it gets better. If your coin looks off-center, like part of the design is missing or shifted, you might have an off-center strike. Depending on how dramatic it is, collectors have paid $200, $800, even over $1,000 for strong examples. Now let me hit you with another shocking twist. Some 1980p nickels were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the metal blank wasn't even meant for a nickel. These rare mistakes are incredibly valuable. One such error coin has been known to fetch over $2,000 at auction. Yes, from a coin most people ignore. Now imagine this. You're going through an old jar of coins. Dusty, worn, maybe even a little dirty. You spot a dull-looking 1980 nickel. Most people would toss it aside. But you now know better. Because condition matters too. Even a normal 1980p nickel in mint state condition, meaning it has sharp details, no wear, and original luster, can sell for $50 to $200. But if it has a rare error on top of that, that's where the hidden treasure turns into serious big money. Let's talk about rims and edges. This is something almost no one checks. Run your finger along the edge. Is it smooth and even? Or do you feel irregularities, like extra metal or a slight bulge? That could indicate a cut error, where part of the die broke off during minting. These are rare and highly collectible, sometimes bringing in $300 to $1,000 plus. Now here's a real eye-opener. In past auctions, collectors have competed fiercely over error nickels from this era. One high-grade example with a strong strike and unique error sold for over $3,000. Not because it was gold, not because it was ancient, but because it was rare. And rarity equals life-changing value. But here's the part that should really grab your attention. Most of these valuable coins are still out there. They haven't all been found. They're hiding in circulation, in piggy banks, in old collections passed down through families. Someone, somewhere, is sitting on a coin worth a small fortune, and they don't even know it.